out to a whole community of softball teams and coaches, and it's completely and utterly unusable. And so, I mean, I just kind of have to roll my eyes that we still struggle with that kind of stuff. But it's not easy.
No. Hey, Terrence, any other people in the chat room? We're going to wrap this up in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, the chat room's been going crazy. The Twitter stream's been going crazy. It's kind of hard to keep track of all the different conversations that are happening. But, you know, Brent, one other question I do have, since many of our viewers are learning or e-learning professionals, how is the M-learning changing the core skill sets that we as learning professionals need to have?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think like anything else, understanding the technology is critical. Screen size, how we design, from an artistic standpoint, how do we create our content? How do our users, our learners interact with their mobile devices as opposed to, looking at a really big full screen e-learning course. The differences between us, I think, needing to support informal learning and social learning, and how do we not necessarily track, but how do we incorporate and encourage sharing of content and sharing of information, and how do we work that into the design that we do? Or at the very least, understand that it's happening and that we should encourage our learners to do that. And, designing that into a curriculum of some sort, and just getting more creative. I think a lot of the problems, I said this before, and this might be a good way to end. A lot of the problems that we struggle with as e-learning designers and developers have already been solved. They've already been solved. It's just that we don't look outside of our little instructional design bubble to see them. We have people creating mobile content already, and they've figured out the technical hurdles. We don't have to go back and reinvent the wheel. How to, deal with, creating content that's flexible, that looks really great on an iPad, but looks really great on an iPhone and looks really great on the big screen. How do you make your content so that it's flexible, or utilize some sort of framework that automatically adjusts to different devices, different screen sizes and designs? It's that kind of stuff. Design in general has been around forever. There's, when we're talking about designing visual imagery, we need to look way outside of our community and look at how others are doing it in the most effective ways and emulate that. That's the piece I think that's really important. I think the most creative and the most innovative instructional designers all come from other disciplines and have some other creative skill that they bring to the table. And that's where the real value lies.
That's true. Terrence, anything else going on in the chat room before we wrap up?
No, it's like I said, the conversations are quite diverse and all over the place, and I think they'd open up a whole nother show. But it sounds like we definitely need to have Brent back, and we need to get Clark on here too to talk about what his research is finding. So I'll send the invitation out to Clark, and those of you that know Clark, put the pressure on him to come on the show.
Well, it's all fresh on his brain after writing the book. That stuff right. Is all right there. And I just saw the reminder that Josh Little's going to be on next week. He's awesome. So he's very, very smart guy and understands about building learning communities. So that'll be fun. I'll be in the chat room next week.
Great. Yeah, it's Josh Little at Bloomfire, so you can go to bloomfire.com to see what he's about. But that's a great tool, and what's even great about that tool now is that he's got a free version on it too, an expanded free version. So that's always nice.
Well, that's great. That's our music, that it is time to say goodbye. Hey, Brent, thanks a lot for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it was great. I really appreciate
We
it.
hope you come again, and we'll definitely see you in March at Learning Solutions in Orlando, Florida. That's what, March 22nd, I believe?
Yep, yep. And don't forget about eLearnCon since we're talking mobile in June.
eLearningCon in June. So you'll plenty of opportunity to meet Brent at these places, and I know we're going to be at those, so we hope to see you again real soon. And to everyone in the chat room, thank you so much for attending. Terrence, any final words?
No, I would just say Brent's B. Schlenker on Twitter. So, definitely follow him. Always useful tweets coming from Brent about learning, eLearning, eLearning, any kind of learning in general. So definitely a person on Twitter you should follow.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Brent. And
Thank
before we
you.
forget, let me thank our sponsors. This show is sponsored by Relate Corporation at www.relate.com and by Liquid Learn at www.liquidlearn.com. And I guess that's it for today, guys. We will see you all next time. If you want to stay on for a second, Brent, we're still going to be live. We're just going to stop the podcast now. Goodbye, everyone.
Take care, everybody.
Okay, podcast is wrapped up, and we're still live on Justin.tv. And hey, thanks everyone for being in the chat room and contributing. And I do recognize all the names from eLearnChat, so it's kind of funny that everybody was there. So that's cool.
Yeah, you got up to about 34, I think was the number I saw. 34 viewers.
Well, I enjoy the support. I appreciate that. So everybody that's out there listening, thank you. I appreciate it.
I thought they came for Terrence. No.
Nah, they don't come for me. So, but that whole list of the tweet stream or people that are scheduled or that we plan on extending invitations to come join us. Jane just confirmed. Jane Bozarth, she just confirmed her interview for I believe it's April 5th.
Oh, great.
Aaron Silvers, we have him I think coming up sometime in April as well. March 1st, we have Corrine Obrish. I know you know her, and she'll be talking about augmented reality games. Mm-hmm.
Good stuff.
Yeah, so it's definitely the show's picking up. We're happy.
Yeah, this is.
How long have you guys been doing this now?
This is number 12. You are lucky 12.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad I'm not 13. Good luck to Josh on being 13.
He's 13. I think we should move the show to a Friday the 13th.
You skip it and just call him 14.
Yeah. Well, we'll do 13.5. How's that?
There you go.
Yeah. That's what Justin says. Justin says just skip right to 14.
That'll be great.
I was so tempted to just start reading some of the tweets that I saw going by. Everybody else was being much wittier and clever than I. So
it's hard when you're on camera all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Yeah, the brain kind of turns off.
Yeah, it's something to do with the lights. The minute you have a light on you, that's it. You're done. It's over.
I think it's the music. It's like as soon as I hear that, I'm like,
Yeah, we may have to get another person in here to help us out when the tweet stream gets too crazy like that, because I couldn't even read half the tweets that were coming through.
Get somebody to monitor it for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can have some music. Well, what can we do something like this to wake you up next time? That woke you up.
That's excellent.
Something to wake you up a little bit.
Now, so tell me, what kind of stuff are you using? What technologies do you have going on back there? How are you pulling this thing off?
Actually, I can show you real quickly. Let me move my cam over here. I'm using a tool called Wirecast. Wirecast allows us to do all of this. Let me actually switch my shot so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm not sure if RJ is in the room. He said he might be watching, or if he's got his new internet.
I've heard of Wirecast. Is that?
It's a good tool for doing this kind of a live broadcast. Then over here to my right, where my hand is, this is our mixer. So we've got two different PCs, and you can see right over here, well, I'm getting in the mic's way. This is where you are, and that's where Terrence is. So these are two Skype machines. So we're using Skype to connect to you, and individually the audio is coming into the mixer so we can control the settings. So
Okay.
it's not, no one's too loud or too low, except for last
Cool.
week where I screwed up. And then over here, we've got, I don't know if you could see it, this is a Logitech G13 gamepad. So while you guys are actually talking, I'm playing, I don't know, Call of Duty or something. But no, this actually is good
Yeah, just
for
triggering stuff.
for triggering all the screenshots. So if I'm switching shots like that, I'm just pressing buttons. And then
And
over
that so
here,
that controls Livecast then?
that controls the Wirecast,
Or
exactly.
Wirecast.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
And then here I've got an iPad where I can do sound effects. This is actually connected virtually, or actually through the network. So if I want music, I can press any of these effects. So that's all handled by this iPad, which runs an application on my desktop. It's pretty cool. Here I have
Okay.
a secondary monitor. It's a 32-inch TV, which it's not on right now.
Yeah.
And then underneath, you probably can't see it, but there is a huge video workstation right about here where I'm touching. It's a very large tower workstation which controls everything that's going on. We're streaming live to Justin.tv. We could
Okay.
also stream live to Ustream as well, and we're recording all at the same time. So that's
So
what's
what
going on.
what's the bandwidth?
At home, here, I'm doing this from home because at the office we only have a T1. We're kind of in a really unfriendly. It's really funny. We're in what's called one of the Silicon Valleys of Southern California. There's a lot of high tech right where we are. Nobody can
Okay.
get it. It stops 2 blocks from us getting files. Even though we're in the more high tech side than the other side, they get files, we don't. So we're 2 blocks away. We have a T1 at work, so it's not that fast. At home, I've got 30 megabits down and about 1.8 up. So for Wirecast and for what we're doing, that's perfect.
It does so it does work fine then. Okay.
It works fine. You could do it on a T1, but the down is a little slow. So if we're trying to do a lot of media or if we're pumping out videos, it's a little slow. Whereas with
Yeah, I
this,
haven't I mean sometimes when I'm on Skype there's that around the world sort of lag, you know. I stop talking and they you start talking over each other, but you must have some pretty good bandwidth going on there because
we've got good bandwidth. We've
I
got a
didn't have any
very,
trouble at all.
it's also a very fast computer. It's a quad-core i7 with about 12 gigs of memory and 5 terabytes of disk. So everything's going fast, and I think that helps.
Okay.
And we've got an internal network with a router. Everything's going at 1 gigabit, so everybody's direct connected. There's no wireless being connected here. So that's a big
That helps
difference.
a lot.
When you go
Okay.
wireless, you're going to get a lot more interference. We're strictly 1 gigabyte internal, one
Okay.
gigabit internal, and that makes a difference for the show. So those are all things that affect it. But if I'm at the office right now without files, that means we're limited to T1 speed. Everything's going through our routers. It would slow down. And if anybody's running a big copy or developing something or creating something in Flash or Captivate or whatever, it's going to start slowing the network down a little bit depending on what we're doing.
Right.
So this is safer. So I play at home on Tuesday mornings and then head back into the office.
Okay.
So it works well.
Yeah, it's very cool. So do you do other podcasts or I mean
We
other
do one. We
content
do
or
one with Gina
this
Schreck.
just this one?
Yeah, we do one with Gina Schreck right before this show called Shrek Tech.
Oh,
And
cool.
that's a new show. We've only done 2 episodes so far. And we may do a third one right now. It just depends. Right now, it's still depending on me. And as I get busier and busier, it gets harder and harder. So 2 right now is probably
Yeah.
good. It'd be fun to do 5 or 10 shows. That would be a blast. But I think we're going to need somebody to help out to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We have one person in the office, Katie, who is probably watching right now. I think we're going to train her on how to use this when we move offices in the near future to files. So that's one of our goals in the next 3 to 6 months is to move 2 blocks over where we can get files. And then at that point, we get 50 megabits down and 20 megabits up. So who cares? Life is
Wow.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice, nice, nice. So, well, I mean, I often see setups like what you have, and after following the Twit network for so
Yep.
long,
That's our mentor, if you will.
yeah, you're modeling after them.
Yeah, he does a great job, and
Yeah.
that's what we want next, the TriCaster. He's got the NewTek TriCaster, which allows you to do
Yeah.
all of this and it all comes in a box. It's probably about a 2 foot by 1